So you're new to the game and you want to start landing those FSBO listings. In this video, I'm going to go through the entire process of what it takes to sell those FSBO listings. And let me tell you, it's a challenge, but you can do it if you put your mind to it. In my old job in the Air Force, I was on the bomb squad and somebody once asked me, is it easier to get a FSBO listing or disarm a bomb? And let me tell you, the bomb is way easier. The very first step in getting FSBOs is you want to find your why. You want to really dig deep and figure out why it is that you're doing this, because getting these FSBO listings is hard. It's one of the most hardest things I've ever done. It will truly challenge you and drain you mentally and emotionally and break you to your core. You will be working with FSBOs for weeks and even following up with months, and they will even go as far as to say, yes, I'm going to list with you tomorrow, send me the listing agreement, and then they'll sign with somebody else. And that's okay, because they are just doing what's best for them. So you have to be able to not have any hard feelings and just be able to take those bad experiences and just move on with them, because you never know, they may circle back to you in the long run. You don't know. So you never want to burn any bridges, and you just really want to dig in and figure out why it is that you're doing what you're doing and why are you grinding like this. When those challenging times come, you're going to want to be able to go back to that thing mentally and just use that as your motivation to get through those tough times. Like for me, it's family. So I'm just like, why am I dealing with this nonsense? And it's because I want my family to have a better life. Once you figure out your why, the next thing you're going to want to do is get organized. You want to make sure you're getting your leads from one source, and you want to have some way that you can track all your leads and just get in an organized process, have a notebook, have some sort of digital tracker. It doesn't really matter what you use, but you want to have something where you can keep all your notes, because you don't want to have sticky notes and everything flying around. And one thing I can definitely tell you from working with a lot of for sale by owners is you want to just write everything down. Make sure you take really, really great notes, because you're going to talk to so many people and you never know when somebody's going to call you back, and you need to be able to quickly go back to that piece of information. So, huge key to success with for sale by owners is definitely staying organized. Once you figure out how to get organized, the next thing you're going to want to do is pick a strategy. And again, there's lots of different strategies you can go through. There are tons of different coaches with different approaches. Maybe you want to do texting, maybe you want to do door knocking, there's door hangers, there's different follow-up systems you could do. Obviously, there's on the phone, and even just calling, there's many strategies you can go with calling. You know, there's like the Mike Ferry approach and the Tom Ferry approach and the Ricky Carruth approach and the Brandon Mulrennan approach. The thing you need to understand is that all of them work. You just need to pick one and get really good at it. You just need to dial in that one method. The thing is, working for sale by owners has a very high skill gap, so it's really something that you need to work on those skills and get a lot of practice in. And if you're constantly changing up your method, then you won't have time to get good at that one particular set of skills. And I'm telling you right now that 60, 90 days is probably the amount of time that you want to work with when you're trying to figure out if a strategy works or not. 30 days is not enough time to figure out if something's working or not. Once you've decided which strategy you want to go with, the next thing you want to do is practice your scripts. The reason that you're practicing your scripts is so that you don't sound scripty, right? You want your script to be so natural that it just comes out like a normal conversation. That's the whole point. You don't want to sound scripty, because then they'll just hang up on you. Think of your script as a guideline, right? It's an outline. Your script gets you from answering the phone to an appointment, if that's your end goal. And that's what, in my personal opinion, that's the best route to go. Just going for face-to-face as soon as possible. My personal opinion, what I think works the best is call them, figure out any sort of motivation if you can right away. And then once you get a little bit of motivation from them, they kind of open up. They might start to feel like you care a little bit. Try to personally connect with them if you can. And then just try to go for the face-to-face. Just ask them if you can come over and see the property. It's literally that simple. No matter what you do, just make sure you practice that script and you get it locked in. I don't even have an exact script that I use. Like I said, mine was more of like a rough outline. I knew what questions I needed to ask in that phone call and how to get to the end, but I didn't have like a set word for word script, which is why I think I was successful with it. I didn't sound scripty. If you want me to go a little bit further in depth as to that process of that phone call and how that looked, and just really deep dive into what I would say and how I would say it, just put it in the comments. And if you're interested, I'll try to make a video about it. Okay, so once you got your strategy and you picked your scripts and you got really good with your scripts, the next thing you're going to want to do is just stay consistent. Like I was talking about before, consistency is key here. Keep trying over and over again. And I know that is the definition of insanity, right? Trying the same thing over and over again, but expecting different results. But the thing is, your results are going to be a little bit different every time, because each one of those failed conversations you have, or each one of those failed appointments that you have, your skill set is going to get a little bit better. And just remember that it is a numbers game. Not everyone is going to connect with you. Not everyone is going to like you. Not everyone is going to want to work with you. You just need to sift through all the people that hate your guts to find the people that really want to work with you. And I've made some great relationships with for sale by owners that have been repeat clients. They used me again when they've purchased, or they referred me to their brother, or just very, very good friends. So there are people out there that want your help. You just have to find them. Some things to think about when you're being consistent and you're calling. You really have 3 main goals on that phone call, and just getting the listing is not one of them. However, I have had a few FSBOs that I called, and within the first 10 minutes of being on the phone with them, I had them agree to list with me. But that is going to be very, very few and far between, very rare. Your 3 goals on that phone call are to assess the situation, figure out if they really do need to sell their house. Do they have any sort of need at all? Or are they just throwing the house up for $1 million just for fun? Which that happens too. So you want to assess the situation. Second thing you want to do is connect with them over the phone. People don't buy from businesses. People buy from people that they trust. So you want to assess the situation, figure out if they have a need. Then you want to try to connect with them some way over the phone. Then you want to go for the face-to-face. Just get in front of them. Go for the appointment. Ask them to come by and check out the property. Ask them if they'd be open to interviewing agents. Ask them if they're open to looking at other options. There's multiple ways to ask for the appointment, but just go for some kind of face-to-face. That face-to-face appointment is super important, because you could have an absolutely fantastic hour-long conversation with a FSBO over the phone, and you don't go for that face-to-face appointment, and maybe somebody else does, and that FSBO signs with them the next day. Ask me how I found this out. So once you've done those 3 things on the phone call and you actually get to the appointment, you want to come from a place of value. My whole philosophy with everything that I do is to give other people first, and I believe in turn that will make people want to work with me. So when you're on that appointment, make sure you're giving value. You're literally trying to help them. You're giving them your feedback, telling them what you would do differently in the pictures, and maybe you would change this in the listing, or give them advice on how their home will show better. You are literally trying to help them sell the house on their own. You let the homeowner show them around the house, you do the little tour with them, you connect with them on a personal level, provide value to some degree, and then after you've done all those things, then you do the most important part, which is ask for the business. And do not leave that property, do not leave that house unless you've asked for the business. This, I'm telling you, is the most important part. Again, ask me how I know. You cannot just sit around and wait for sale by owners to call you up and ask you to list their house. That is not going to happen. You have to be aggressive and ask them for the business. Now, there's a wide range of ways you can do that. You can do it on the more passive side, which would look something like this. Mr. For Sale by Owner, I know you're selling on your own, which is great. Just curious, say the house doesn't sell in the next 30 days. Would you be open to interviewing me for the job of selling your home? That's a very passive way to go about it, but you are still asking for the opportunity. You just, in their mind, you want to position yourself as the selling guy or the selling girl. One thing you never want to do, especially when you're on that initial call, you never want to make them think you have a buyer and use that to get in their house, because then in their head, you are going to be the buyer agent person. You do not want to be the buyer agent person. You want to be the listing person. So that was a more passive way to ask for the business. More aggressive route to go is going to be something like this. Mr. Seller, great house. I know you want to get from point A to point B. Listen, I'm sure you are deciding to sell on your own because you don't want to pay a full commission. What would it take for you to agree to work with me today and let me get your house sold? You can hit them with that. A lot of times, a lot of for sale by owners are just waiting for the first agent to come by and offer them a discount to list their house. And I don't know about you personally, but for me, I'll happily do it any day of the week. It really doesn't matter. I'm fine with it. And if you listen carefully, I'm structuring those questions very carefully, at least in the more aggressive side. I'm not saying, can I sell your house or can I list your house? What I'm asking is, what is it going to take for me to be able to sell your house? I'm assuming that there is going to be a yes in there somehow, and I'm just trying to figure out a way to get it out. And if it doesn't go that well at the appointment, and if they don't agree to work with you at the appointment, that is totally fine. A lot of times people just need some time to think about it. Make sure you're following up aggressively and you're not letting that fall off the radar. So if you tell them you're going to call back in a few days, make sure you actually call back in a few days and say, hey, Mr. Seller, it's Frank, just giving you a call back. I just want to know, hey, are you ready to get started? Are you ready for me to come over and make that house go away? Be fun with it. Have high energy. Don't be a boring stick in the mud. Nobody likes that. Just be yourself. Be personable. That is going to be the key to getting those FSBO listings. The very last step I have for you for getting those FSBO listings is do not give up. That is the one thing that's going to kill you. The only way you're not going to get them is if you just give up and stop trying. So make sure you don't give up. Keep going for it. If you think you have your strategy dialed in and you want to just figure out how to get FSBO listings and how to organize them correctly, make sure you check out this video and it will help you get going. If the video was helpful for you, make sure you press like. It really helps me out a lot. And have a great day.